Moving on, let's give Mercedes some airtime. We didn't talk about Mercedes, and Mercedes deserves some airtime. And listen, I don't want to talk about Mercedes because I really do believe there's nothing to talk about. So I will give you the honors to actually introduce Mercedes. What do you think about Mercedes, and what is it that specifically you wanted to talk about the Mercedes?
It's just a review of their performance after the summer break.
Yeah.
Remember Spa before the summer break? We were talking about a string of wins. So there was Silverstone. Sorry, there was Austria. There was Silverstone. Then there was Spa. Yeah? Yeah, George got disqualified by Hamilton.
But still Hamilton won, yeah.
Yes. So when we're breaking, or when the summer break was coming in, we were like, okay, Mercedes finally have got their shit together. Now, after the summer break, we are looking at Baku, Singapore, and then there's a 3-week, there's a break. Yep, 3 weeks, and then we have the triple header that just ended.
Yeah.
And it looks like Mercedes is back to being nowhere, back to not understanding their car, first of all. And it also seems now they have new problems. So Toto recently came out and said, hey man, with these crashes that are happening and the cost cap, I don't know. It's not looking good.
What was the first crash? Was it Kota?
Yes.
Immediately after the updates.
Yeah, and in Qatar they were looking fast from practice, except for the crash.
Yeah, and was it Hamilton who crashed? It was Hamilton who crashed, and Toto went on the press.
Okay.
George.
Hamilton, did Hamilton? Oh, he crashed during the race, Amma?
He didn't crash. He
went off
the road.
Yeah, he went off the road,
during
but
that
he had floor damage.
Yeah, he
and
did.
that was a new floor.
Yeah.
Also, George crashed his car, and that during quali Q3.
Yes,
and that was also a new floor.
Yes, and also the S's, the maggots and buckets of Qatar, they were going off.
Yeah, it was. I remember Hamilton doing like a proper spin.
Yeah, he had a 360. Was it FP1? He had a 360.
Yeah, and also Monza. We also had Kimi with a car that had new parts.
But my big takeaway from that whole moment was.
Were you done? The Mercedes.
No. Okay, I was just introducing the topic and talking about how their performance has just dipped. As in, they're on a high leading into the summer break, but after the summer break,
were there new updates they introduced, especially for the triple header?
Kota, yes.
Oh, there was that new floor.
Yes,
the one that nobody wants.
Yeah, and when George crashed that floor, he damaged the car at Kota. He actually raced with the Silverstone floor at Mexico. And remember, Silverstone, they had a circuit-specific setup. So it's not looking good for those guys. Now it's just duct tape and paper glue.
Hamilton did say that that's like the worst car he has ever driven.
And he compared it to the 2022 car, and he said, actually, even the 2022 car, it's a better car. And bro, we're talking about how many years into this era? And now we are just left with
3 years into this new era.
It's not looking good for them right now, and also next year.
The big takeaway, guys. The big takeaway.
But
George, the fact that
George did a very decent job in Interlagos.
No, but before you go to the George, I'm saying the big takeaway. Kwa hiyo the crash yenye ilikuwa imehappen was what Otto had to say, because what he had to say was really gave us a glimpse of what is happening at Mercedes kiasi, because they seem not to be confident in the package that they had brought, or the updates, or the upgrade packages that they had brought. Because when he talked about Hamilton's crash, he was like, we are blaming the package. Because we remember Hamilton, when George was having troubles with his own package, he was like, listen, I can give you my updates. And George was like, no, I'm good, I don't want them. And that's what I'm talking about. That was my big takeaway from the whole incident. Because when Toto came out to speak about or talk on the situation, he was like, Lewis Hamilton does just not lose. And I quote, Lewis Hamilton does not lose a car like that. So they clearly knew something was wrong with the upgrades they were making. And you kind of now think about it. Is there a developmental plateau at Mercedes? Are they in a position whereby they're not really sure what they're doing? Are they unconvinced with the direction they're taking in terms of developing this car? Or have they checked out already completely from the whole situation and are now waiting eagerly for the 2026 season? Because again, I don't want to peddle rumors, but I'm the guy who's giving you the information before it actually happens. There has been leaks that Mercedes really do have a strong, I don't know if it's an engine or a power unit for the cars for the next generation. But see Vitisho, remember before the turbo hybrid era started, these vitu zilikuwa tu zina circulate. Like before, if you go back and look at how the news zilikuwa zina move back then, before Mercedes got into the turbo hybrid era, there were leaks that these guys are really confident and they know what they're doing. Because remember, going forward, the 2026 cars aren't going to be predominantly as sensitive as these cars have been sensitive to ground downforce na hizo iron na vitu kaa hizo. Pia hizo power units zita play a part. You know, these cars zimekuwa very sensitive, especially with their floors. Zimekuwa super sensitive.
And suspension.
This ground, na kwanza hiyo suspension, Red Bull have been doing something. But so
you guys, the wins you had, maybe you put water in your tires.
That is a Red Bull thing.
And then you ikatajwa. What happened in Talagos?
Apana, you know this,
remember
these teams are all
we were having that conversation and then he was saying Fred made a comment about Red Bull and McLaren diverting like attention or something.
Tujafika huko kwa Fred.
That time
Tutafika
Ferrari is busy.
We will get there. Stop jumping the gun. Tuende na mutaratara. Tupeleke na system.
When be careful when you're pointing fingers.
I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying,
He's pointing.
Your suspension nimesema you know, he has mentioned the suspension and I was kwanza I remembered it's triggered me. I've remembered something.
I told you these teams are trying. I think Red Bull tried Kitambo.
We are going away on a tangent here.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to the Mercedes. There is something going on, but Mercedes fans from 2026 onwards, be hopeful. Be hopeful.
They won't be there. They will be in Ferrari.
Kwanza hiyo kuna there is somebody who's killing me. This team LH bana. Juzi wameingia kwa group and they are talking about how Hamilton is bigger than the sport. Sijui is bigger than Ferrari and
not yet. I'm forcing.
It looks like we'll be having a civil law on our hands.
Do not Trojan horse. And it's a gift. You're being given a gift.
These guys do not want to listen. They do not want to understand. They're like, Hamilton is bigger than the sport. Have you seen Foundation 44?
Just wait the hate Charles will get next year.
Charles, man, Lord. Like, hey, listen, but I have confidence in my boy. Anyway.
So Mercedes now, they've strongly secured P4.
But now we were talking about Mercedes, lakini hata hatujapea airtime poa. I'm sorry, Mercedes. There's really nothing to talk about.
No, there's something else. So right now they're 296 points ahead of Aston Martin P5.
P? The NP?
P4.
Oh, God.
Strongly there. As in...
Uko ndio the best they can do.
Yes. As in, even if Red Bull decide we are not racing anymore, until that's still P4 is theirs.
You know, the funniest memes this season is this driver has been disqualified. He cannot win the championship. Hata kuende aje.
Mathematically, he's not there anymore.
He's not there.
So in the Constructors' Championship, it looks like they are not fighting with anyone. But there's a really interesting battle happening between Russell and Hamilton. Yeah?
Points.
Points-wise? Performance-wise?
Performance-wise.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at post-summer break, here we're talking about Akina Baku, Singapore. The story is still the same, or the trend is still the same. So I'm just going to talk about this triple header. Okay. Russell has out-qualified Hamilton 5 times. 5-0.
Yeah, okay. I think even he has already wrapped up the qualifying battle for the season with Hamilton.
Yeah. And if you look at the 2 races before, after the summer break, same story.
Yeah.
Russell has finished above Hamilton 4 times. As you know, we're looking at the last 5 races.
Okay.
4 times, and Hamilton has finished on top once. Yeah. And this again is leading to...
And that one, is it the Mexican?
Yes, I think it's the Mexican. Yeah.
The one Hamilton hunted Russell for like, I don't know how many laps.
Yeah. He was stuck behind him. He was...
When I have to overtake you, camp hapo. Stay there.
Yeah. And even...
They have to overtake you.
Yeah, as in he was stuck behind him, kabisa. And you see, since Hamilton has been... When this trend started, when George now was out qualifying him properly, then Sunday, people were saying, "Oh, even if George qualifies P1,
on
it'll
pole,
still end together." Well, it's because that's the pace of the car. It's not because George is slower. Come on, Sunday.
That's the pace of the car.
Yeah.
Tetea George kabisa.
No, but it's the truth.
Tetea
It's
George
the truth.
kabisa.
Well, apart from Brazil, where they forced George to pit, but that was a George win. Anyway, it was a George win.
We know.
They forced
he
George to
couldn't
pit,
win.
but that was a George win.
George is another Lando Norris, but ni sawa.
He overtook Norris on the first lap.
George was going to get the job done.
He overtook Norris on the
That
first
gap
lap.
in Singapore is not easily forgettable.
Anyway. Closing remarks.
Remember the gap in Singapore.
Closing remarks. Do you think this is, and I'm posing this as a question, do you think this last year for Hamilton at Mercedes, do you think it's going to sting him in his entire career?
Sting who?
Sting Hamilton.
Or Hamilton's legacy. Are you talking about Hamilton's legacy at Mercedes?
Yes, he's as in looking at his career at Mercedes. Do you think this is going to be that one thing which Mercedes maybe regret, maybe they really want Hamilton to finish on a high? And do you think maybe Hamilton would... As in, I'm looking at it as...
There's a saying, a good dancer knows when to leave the stage. I think Hamilton had the opportunity to leave Mercedes a long time ago. He didn't leave. I think the best time he would have left was after the events of AD 21. That was the best time to leave. And he had an opportunity to leave. But then, if he was about to leave then, he was going to leave the sport entirely. And I know that wouldn't been favorable for him. But I think the whole 22, 23, 24 campaigns, I don't think they've actually done enough damage to kind of write off everything's done for Mercedes. But I think he's dampened it. He's dampened everything he's achieved there. Because I think even Schumacher, after winning the 204 championship, 205, he left in 06. Was it 06? He left in 06. The 05 and 06, when he decided to retire, he retired early enough because he saw the trajectory of the team and he knew, like, hey, listen, I'm not, the new blood is coming in and I'm not going to win, so let me just leave. And Hamilton tried, and especially the 22 season was something that really did some. It actually chewed a huge chunk in terms of damaging his portfolio, Mercedes, or his stint at Mercedes. But I think people are willing to overlook that because he is going to a team where we are guaranteed he will perform. And by the only guarantee I'm taking away from this is if Ferrari perform or have a good car, or have the car that they've been having this season, next season, be sure Hamilton will perform in it. Hamilton is the kind of driver, if you just like, you say something, fast drivers get to fast cars. Hamilton is the kind of driver, if you give him a fast car, he'll do more than enough with it.
But you see, now there are also conversations where people are, and this is something which you've talked about before.
Yeah.
People now are saying maybe Hamilton has just lost the edge. And they're comparing Hamilton and drivers who are really good in the previous generation and are now suffering in this generation.
Daniel Ricciardo, one of them.
Yeah. They're actually saying they don't even think Hamilton will make it at Ferrari.
Ah, damn.
They don't see him doing anything spectacular.
Okay, me, I always say this. Do not underestimate the heart of a champion. What Hamilton can or cannot do.
Kanye West champion starts playing.
We have no idea. Like, Hamilton has lost a championship by a single point.
Has won it by a single point.
And has won it by a single point. He has
single corner with one corner. The final corner. Last lap.
Yeah. And we know the 2021 AD. Like, that guy has seen
everything there is.
Like, he has seen a lot in Formula 1. Yeah. So, now this is like something, like, to us fans, we see it as maybe this is something new. This is something new coming to Hamilton. And how he'll react, how he'll do, we have no idea. But all I know is that do not underestimate the heart of a champion. Somebody who has consistently won championship.
I mean, an 8-time all champion is not somebody you'll underestimate.
You can't just underestimate.
8 time.
Oh, 7.
Ferrari, man.
You can. So, and I always say, if Hamilton wins a championship in Ferrari, it will make the best movie.
I'm telling you, if he wins it, I guarantee you he's retiring at the end of that season. Anatoka on a high. If he wins that championship.
Oh, but to answer your question, leaving Mercedes, I don't think you can go to any driver who left a team and you said, oh, they left, things were rosy. Even Vettel leaving Red Bull. I'm addressing to you because there's no driver utasema, this guy left, he was things are rosy, things are good. No, people don't leave.
I think the only guy who left Naka alichagua the perfect point to leave was Rosberg alikuwa like
there's one championship.
Yeah. People basically
one championship wakiendanga pale Sky Sports akiulizwa. So what do you think?
I'm a world champion.
Inakuwa imeandika hapo. Formula 1 champion. Formula 1 world champion. World champion. Naisemangi 2016 ama world champion. That's enough.
So what I'm saying is there's no people who leave each other because of something good. So like Hamilton leaving Mercedes, he's not leaving Mercedes because it's
heartbreaks.
Mercedes is good or you don't leave because of good
that is a pessimistic approach. You
What
can
I'm
live
trying
because
to
of
say-
good intentions. You can live when things are good. But most of the times when drivers are living, they're not living because anything good is happening. They're living because things are going down the drain or things are going on a downward spiral.
Yeah, or from perspective yake, he can't see anything good coming from there.
From it,
yeah. But as I said, when you were talking the other time, that drive of Hamilton in that Senna's car, when you watch, I'm sure there's something you'll see. But what I saw is like a send-off.
Oh yeah,
Like
you
a
talked
send-off.
about it,
Yeah,
and I didn't really see it, and I was like, "Oh, what are you seeing, bro?" But tell us.
It's like doing donuts. It's like doing donuts. It's like being given something at the end of your career. Like it's telling you, "Yes, you have been good to us. Here is something for you."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And it's like we don't expect to see you again anytime soon. I don't know. That's how it looks to me, and it's sort of like a goodbye. So I hope it isn't like that.
Yeah. And what really stood out for me for that Casena situation was after driving that car, he was like, "Oh man, that's a proper race car, that, and I drive it again if given the chance. I really love it. I'd race with it." And after that car situation, there was qualifying happening. Now after qualifying, he was like, "That's P12. Was it P? Where did he qualify? It was
P11.
P11. That's P12, something like that." And I was like, geez, this car, man. And you could tell this guy is actually really frustrating.